There's going to be a bit of a delay. There we go. Okay. There's drinking that has to happen. Hang on. Make noise. That's what I was supposed to do. Make noise and test the sound. Good evening, Mr. Novel.
What's up?
Glad to see you on the screen with us tonight. So we're testing the sound in about, probably 30 seconds left, so she can make sure it's adequately broadcasting on our standby YouTube channel. So be patient for just a minute. Are we good?
All right. I'm going to welcome everybody to our October Board of Education meeting. Good evening. I hope everyone's well. I would like to call this meeting to order. And here we have roll call. Ben?
Here.
Mullen?
Here.
Novel?
Here.
Blackman? Here. Ledger? Here. All right. Everybody would stand.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've been a privilege of doing a kiddo. Kiddos are always my favorite. No offense. This is, if I could have Miss Brennan Loader come up here. Ms. Brennan, you are getting the Standby Spirit Award. You know why I'm getting it? Because you are like the example of being respectful, being just all around pretty awesome. Principal Noel said that she can count on you for everything. She said that you are somebody that everyone in the school can look up to, and from what I understand, you're just a fourth grader, so that's even more cool. And she thinks that you do everything, she can count on you for everything, your teachers, your peers, everything is, and everybody can just look up to you, and you're on time, you're always ready, you're prepared, and you're everyone's best friend. So, congratulations. I would keep on your person because that's a pretty hot. Would you like to say anything?
Actually, her teacher is here and her coach is here. So people that they can say more about her, they have their class. Would you like to say more?
She is amazing.
That's kind of what I said.
She's the one that the kids want to turn to. I don't understand this. I need help. I'm like, hello, I'm not there. Teacher, leave her alone. Let her do her work. She's just so kind and is willing to help anybody and everybody.
I think she needs a picture with all you all.
I know.
She's got to go out there and take.
We're gonna need that someday. Remember when we had to wear those masks?
That was me.
Good job,
All right, I get to do something equally as nice, and we have lots of people at Sand Springs Schools that go above and beyond, and I want to ask Tara McDonald to come help me out, because we're going to, let me go this way?
Yes.
Because we want to talk about our bus drivers. We have a couple of bus drivers, one of them here tonight. Tyrone, are you with us tonight? Come on up here with us, Tyrone, please. Because, and Sarah may be able to share more about Tyrone, but bus drivers are so vital to what we do. They are, she keeps saying we need to move this way.
You're currently headless, Sarah.
And you have such a pretty head.
Bus drivers are so vital to what we do to the educational system because you guys are the first person that the kids see every day, and you're the last person that the kids see every day. So what they do in the middle, that's kind of important. But if they don't come, they can't do what they do. So we appreciate what you're doing. And there was I believe it was a Facebook post about you that you were able to, you saw something that a child had left on the bus. It was a hat that I believe was a girl had made. And it was very special because she got home and she did not ever had, she forgot about it. So she was devastated until the next morning. She was on the bus and Tyrone had saved the hat, do it with her, gave it to her, something like that. So she recognized what it was, and I believe it was her mother that sent a note to us and said, well, how special are our bus drivers that take care of our kids. And not just get them there, but have that special touch for each one of them. So, man, that's so special. That's so neat that you do. So we're giving you the Sandite Pace Center Award. This certificate is awarded to Tyrone Carr for outstanding achievements and accomplishments in representing Sand Springs Public Schools and the community at large, and what he does and he thinks beyond. So thank you for what you do, very much so. Very good. Taylor, you might want to share some other things. So.
Oh, just that he is an amazing young man that works with us, and he actually brings a lot of joy into our workplace. So it's beautiful to have him as an employee for a coworker. So yeah, he goes above and beyond the call of duty.
Very cool. Very
Good
cool.
job, Harry.
We are smiling too, I promise you.
Mr. Malone, can I just add one thing to that comment? Because sometimes we forget, we minimize the little things. And it's when people outside sometimes point out the small stuff. And we think it's just small stuff, but it's meaningful in the life of a young person for sure, but even in us old people, you know? It's meaningful. And the fact that Tyrone has worked with a smile on his face, especially like Tara, who, by the way, is also a very good example of just, you know, it's pleasant. You know, you walk into an environment and people love to be there. So it's really kind of a statement of all of our transportation department, but specifically it's really fun to watch you guys celebrate just the goodness of people. So thank you.
And this guy is no stranger to receiving awards, and deservedly so. Mr. Chris Corbin, this is an incredible star. Matter of fact, the reference for him, somebody recommended him for this award today. It's 4 pages long, and so there's a lot to say, and that's not nearly enough. And I witnessed it with my 3 children who have gone through Angus Valley and have been impacted by his work there. And I'll just read a couple of these statements from this because it's really powerful. The encouragement just oozes from him for every runner, said Gina Myers, a colleague. He shows up early and stays late every single day. And they said this statement stands out among a lot of others that he's never missed a day of work for personal illness in 18 years of teaching. Just has proven to make a difference in the lives of students and families. Just goes on and on. He's never seeking the limelight for himself, but always showing up and doing the work and encouraging and inspiring kids to do where physical fitness is not always the favorite of some families and children, mine included, and yet he makes it fun and enjoyable and inspires them to do it. And so we're just grateful for all the things that you do. Chris, if you would come up, and we want to present you with this Sandite Pace Center Award for outstanding achievements and accomplishment in representing Sand Springs schools and the community at large.
Can I just say that 4 pages was not me, that was Miss Claudia Smith.
Oh,
It's a big round of applause for her.
She's got the whole thing.
Nice
Come on
to
and read it.
I
Yeah.
don't know. So I wrote this because Chris and I have known each other for a long time. We got to know each other because of learning. So I wrote this because it sums up everything.
Claudia, you're headless.
Okay. Sand Springs Public Schools is fortunate to have a team of extremely talented staff. Included in this team is Chris Corbin, who has proven time and time again that he loves kids and he loves his job as a PE teacher at English Valley, Illinois. But Chris is not just a PE teacher, but he's a son, a husband, a father, an uncle, a coach, a Marine, a mentor, a trainer, a friend, and an author. With these titles come many accomplishments that Chris quietly and humbly attained. Did you know that he was named an Oklahoma Cross Country of the Year as an assistant coach? The impact he leaves on others is unforgettable. No matter how many times the local TV stations show up at Angus Valley Gymnasium hoisting oversized checks to reward Chris for his role as an outstanding educator, Chris's message remains the same. The story is not about him. It's not about being strong and fast. It's about being healthy, both mentally and physically. Chris has received many awards numerous times, including a National Life Changer Award presented to him virtually in April by the National Life Group and the National Life Group Foundation. We are so proud of Chris and the energy he brings to team strength, and would like to recognize him.
I want to say thank you for, I'm thankful to work in the district and in the building, and it gives me the autonomy to create and make mistakes, do things, create programs that have been going now for over 10 years. The little Brennan that left, she's in my recess running club. It's been going on before we even had a trail out there. It just comes and stickers and kids just have to figure it out. And now we have a trail out there. We have an elementary running program that isn't about winning, even though we do sometimes. It's about helping business and teaching that, and I appreciate that. In an area where PE is not, sometimes I think of a PE teacher, I keep that chip on my shoulder that it's not so loud. I feel like in the typical PE teacher, just roll the stuff out, play dodgeball, play kickball, do whatever, but it's not. It's 40 minutes of not just talking and playing a game. It's teaching lifelong fitness, health mentally and physically. And then one of my favorite Rusty Gun stories, you might remember this, we were on a podcast, did a podcast with him one time. He said his kids would go home and go, well, Mr. Corbin said you're not supposed to have this drink. Or Mr. Corbin said you're not supposed to. He said, you know what, Mr. Corbin doesn't know everything. I know sometimes parents get annoyed and they go home and their kids are saying stuff like that, but hey, they've been listening. And I'm the first to tell them, you know, I'm not the healthiest. I eat ice cream, I have a pop sometimes. It's just, you know, finding that balance on everything. But I just thought that was a good little story. I'll never forget that. You're not the only parent, I'm sure, to say Mr. Corbin doesn't know everything. They get kind of hearing that. But hey, they're listening. They're listening in all the schools, whatever you're here to represent today. They can learn at that young age what it means to be a lifelong, be healthy and fit. And I do take pride in being hopefully a good role model for them, a good example for the kids and teachers. So I thank you so much for this. It's humbling honor, but at the end of the day, I really just feel like I'm doing my job. So thank you for doing it well, man.
Chris, one thing I want to tell you just in front of everyone, one thing I love about you is it's not just a job. And I would make a case where teachers know most stuff, by the way, which is an important lesson for all of us, I think, because we have a lot of wisdom and experience. But you, my friend, above and beyond is so underrepresentative of what you do, because it's not just about the job at school, like what you get paid for, but it's about your commitment to the health of students beyond school, beyond the day, on cross-country meets that you volunteer for, and your elementary prep program is really extended after school and into many, many hours that you could above and beyond. So there's not many people like Chris Corbin, and we really appreciate you. Once you hear me say that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, that wraps up our award portion, which is the fun portion of the meeting. So if anybody would like to exit stage left, they're more than welcome to, or you can stay for the whole meeting.
I'm the first one here last meeting.
Thank you, Claudia. Thanks, John.
Thank you, I really appreciate it.
All right, moving on to discussion and review.
So that takes us to item number 5, instructional strategies in alignment with our strategic improvement plan. And this one is about student empowerment and staff empowerment. Just want to briefly go over the virtual numbers as they begin to stabilize now. When we look at the numbers that we're reporting for COVID that hit the website every Monday. I'm reporting just the full-time virtual, so you see, roughly 760 kids that are in full-time virtual, but, we also have an additional 300 that are blended, meaning they're, for the most part, getting virtual instruction, but they're on campus somewhat. So that honestly continues to stabilize. That's about 22-23% of our student enrollment. So, of course, I call it the COVID effect. That really is about offering those range of choices for people that prefer to keep their children at home during this pandemic. Probably the biggest message on that one is the elementary count. And it's broader than we've ever seen. Over 312 elementary students enrolled. And I see Jerry Roder back in the audience with us tonight, our director. We even have around 25 pre-K students that are virtually enrolled. Jay, I have to tell you, Mr. Rivers did a fantastic job tracking and making sure the kids are getting the instructions they need. I don't know, Mr. Rivers, if you would want to add anything, what you're seeing currently, but I'm really proud of the program and our ability to take off from a ground where we were doing this kind of work already and really ready for this year. So
yeah, I mean, the teachers, especially at the elementary level, have done an amazing job of building a program, a curriculum for these kids that truly takes where they are and is building them up from there, taking into account, the fact they hadn't been in school for that last 9 weeks, and their flexibility and the kids' flexibility and working with everything has been amazing. And it's definitely the teachers, not me, and they're the ones there building all of it. I'm just there to help them when they need it.
The second part of the story for student counts is really enrollment counts across the state. Honestly, not just Sand Springs. We are down approximately 140 students this year from last year. There's a couple of reasons. We've got quite a few students that have exited Sand Springs to go to Epic Charter School. That is no doubt. We also are about 20 less pre-K kids than we were last year. And there's a chart in your board folder that shows you the percentage of movement around area schools that also have seen quite a few exits percentage-wise of student enrollment decrease from last year's first quarter statistical count, which is what we're doing now. So you can see we're at about 2.82% decrease from last year, but you're seeing that consistently across of course, this is kind of a mixture of a lot of different schools that Sun is connected with, but it's a phenomenon we're seeing across the state, and partly due to COVID. I mean, I again call it the COVID effect about parents making learning choices for their children in the state of affairs that we're in called COVID-19. So just wanted to have a feel for where we're at. We're working state budget-wise on a number that was reflective of our annual statistical report in June. And so we call that living off a high year. We get a year's grace basically for state aid, and that's what we're going to be getting on this year. So we have a year of breathing room, and we're in a camp of hoping that at some point this pandemic passes and we get somewhat close to normal again. So I wanted you definitely to see those counts and how they look across not only our district, but the state. And then just a celebration, we are now this week starting our 7th week of school. I will say this, when we started, my prediction was definitely not week 7. And I know I corresponded with the board on several occasions, really predicting that we would not be in school without a shutdown of some sort. Till now, and so far we've had a few classes in quarantine, very few, but truly the fact that we're entering week 7, I'm really proud of. I think it means that our protocols are working. We've worked really hard in making sure that we're minimizing the spread as much as possible, while at the same time trying to have as normal of a school environment for our students. And I'm super proud of where we're at as a district. So Those 3 points are the big highlights, I think, for the month of October, unless you guys have questions regarding students and staff.
Item number 6, resource innovation.
Right, so, I love the fact that Red Horse is sticking with me through this crazy, past 4 or 5 years, because we definitely haven't had our ups and downs regarding finance. As always, our Vernon Florence newsletter is attached, giving some indicators of state revenue. As we said in previous meetings, we know that it's a little bit of a roller coaster with, what we're up against with just, state revenue this year. We continue to budget accordingly, meaning that we are, while optimistic about our ability to stay fiscally sound because of our, frugality, I guess, for lack of a better word, with our public dollars. I'm not worried, but seeing a dip of enrollment, we're gonna probably be going into our fund balance this year, without a doubt. So we just need to kind of repeat that every month, so you can aware that, that by the end of the year, when we're done with fiscal year 21, it probably will be quite as optimal as it was last year because of that. Greg, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but he is one of the best predictors, I feel like, of school finance that there is, and so he's kind of keeping it updated monthly. I don't think he's listening to me right now. He's asleep. We'll come back to Mr. Morris in a minute. The second part is the LD current bid opening. It's set for, we actually had it for the English gym project, so that's going to be something the public's going to want to hear. We did the public bid opening Thursday. Josh Milborn is our LD Currents representative. And Jeannie, yeah, absolutely. And
He's behind you.
he snuck in. He's amazing. He's been a great partner, by the way. We're pretty close to completion of our almost with the high school academy, the freshman academy, and the STEM center. We did complete our bid opening, and we're ready to ask for approval of that bid package for the English gym. I do want to remind you guys, I've said it in an email before, we've had a couple of meetings with our city, and Jeannie and Josh might want to speak with that just a tad about the connection for the gym. At this point, it's going to be a standalone building until we have the money to sprinkle the entire English facility. So initially, those plans showed kind of a corridor that linked, which is not going to be able to happen under this project right now, just because of lack of bond funds. So Jeannie, I don't know if you want to talk about that or.
Well, the existing Angus school was partially sprinkled in like 2001 bond. And I don't know, I think at the time, the city knew we didn't have funds. The state wasn't really pushing sprinklers in a lot of buildings. And the city was letting us get by with making things better than they were. So they allowed the architect at the time, I was not involved in the district, but they allowed the architect at the time to partially sprinkle. And we did a boiler and then chiller redo in that package and put ceiling grid in the school. So now if we add on to the school, it puts us over the square footage that's allowed, and we are putting a riser in the gym for a future sprinkler. And then the city wants, if we connect the two buildings together, at that time, we will be forced to come back and have to redo the sprinkler system and add a complete sprinkler system in there.
The other addition, based on the city meetings, was the addition of a fire lane, which we're talking through right now, meaning that they want to be able to do fire trucks, obviously, in front of the new building structure. And so that was an expense that was also something that we didn't foresee for access.
And it was based upon us setting the gym back toward where the front door is, and I guess the way the new fire code reads, you have to be within 140 feet of where the fire lane is, and that school is deeper than that. So really, we should have a fire lane back there so they can put the fire trucks in there and get the back of the building.
The good news is the budget, the bids came in within our budget of what we expected.
Yes.
In fact, it was a little bit less than what we thought it would be, and I don't know if Josh wanted to expand on that much. So we'll be asking you to approve that on the board agenda tonight. And then the last item, facility-wise, there's an item for a competitive bid we did. I don't remember the date, recently, for recladding of the east wing of Charles Page High School. I say Cooper Hall, but it's literally the east wing that projects out toward the east side of the building. It definitely is an add-on. It's something that we could choose not to do. But if you take a peek at the stucco, there's some deterioration that's going on that side.
And it's not stucco, there are concrete panels on that building, and they were put in with an aluminum or a metal, a U-channel, and that's all rusting out. The supports at the bottom that are carrying that are showing some wear and tear. We either need, it would be better for the system if we clouded it, get it waterproof, and get the water off of that, it would last a lot longer.
So you'll see a bid again, that bid actually came under the projected amount, so I'm pretty pleased with the bid on that one. So you'll see that as an item for approval as well later on in the agenda. So, it is concrete. It looks stucco-ish though, because if you look at the building, it looks like a stucco.
It's a panel system they used back in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
The building also is a little aged, so you'll see that as an item. So any questions about budget, facilities?
And we are still working on the marquee out front.
Sure.
That's under construction now.
That's correct. Communication, Mr. Mullins showed up for dialogue tonight, our monthly meeting, so I want to say publicly that we have decided not to invite the public to come in, mostly out of caution about our guidelines, and so I'm really hard to follow to the greatest extent we can. However, we've started back up our district dialogue on our standout YouTube learning channel, monthly. We're not going to do this weekly like we were doing this summer, so we held one in September, covered a little bit of quarantine and then a lot about FAFSA, which is the application for student aid for college. And so our 4 counselors actually got on and just talk a lot about that. So they did a great job. So we have started that back up again. We'll be doing that each month. And then, of course, you probably know that parent-teacher conferences are next week on Monday and Tuesday evening, at which time parent surveys will also go out. So I think most sites have chosen to do that virtually, with probably some exceptions for in-person meetings at parent request, but mostly virtual meetings. I will say, I know Ms. Slater was in the audience, but what we did discover in the spring is our students with special needs, those families really enjoy the opportunity to do a virtual meeting, and it was more accessible really for the team. So I look for that to be highly successful as well. So, any questions about families and community involvement? So the first 2 items I attached to the agenda. I thought it was really important for you to see kind of the legality of the ability for a state agency, in this case mainly the state health department, or in our case the health department, to have the authority to mandate quarantine and isolation. It's an interesting, one of the things that we at TCASA requested from RFR, which is an attorney firm that we've used in the past, as you know. They also show up at our area superintendent's meeting, but we asked them to come up with a document that really illustrated the board's that authority per state law. And so you'll see reference, I believe, 3 laws by Bo Rainey, letting you know that we don't create the guidelines necessarily, nor we definitely are doing the contact tracing for the Tulsa Health Department, because they don't have the number of staffers that they would need to do the whole Tulsa County. But it is there for you to quarantine and isolate. So I wanted you to see that. It's something that we really don't have a choice to do. One thing I want to make clear, it's interesting, and I had to learn this myself, the state health department has the authority over all county health departments in terms of formulating the rules and conditions, except for Oklahoma County and Tulsa County, which are considered independent. So when Sand Springs Public Schools has a known positive case, our reporting goes straight to the Tulsa Health Department, which is what we're doing. So anytime we're aware of a positive COVID-19 case, we call the Tulsa County Health Department for direction. So just wanted to kind of get a schemata of how that works. As you know, all of our admin team have done the contact tracing training through Johns Hopkins. We're getting pretty good at it, quite frankly, which is, I guess, a good thing in this context. But just know that that goes hand in hand with our Tulsa County Health Department, which is our authority.
Sure, if we had somebody that was in another county, would you still go through Tulsa with that?
Yes.
Because of our connection right there?
Yes, and that's because the biggest local car district is located in Tulsa County. There are some districts that are choosing to contact both, but I think, and I think our team would reflect this, and what's happened across the state on those districts that kind of are present in both counties, you sometimes can get conflicting guidance. And that's not judgmental at all on anyone. It's just we're navigating this thing called a pandemic that no one has ever experienced before, especially in the context of public schools. And so it's not unusual probably that there will be some differing kind of interpretations of what they feel like is the best way to quarantine. As you know, we hung our hat on CDC guidelines, and we stuck to it very meticulously and very closely. And I think that when you start talking to two different entities, it gets confusing. And so I think part of, in my mind, the magic of being able to stay open is making sure our patrons understand, we're clearly communicating what the expectations are, and we honor those. So we're really adhering to the Tulsa Health Department because the bulk of our district is there. Good question though, for sure. Any other questions about quarantining? We've seen the numbers are posted on the website, so we're trending down a little bit. Likely, I would think after the Labor Day weekend, we might see that take a little bit in cases, but for now, I feel like it's going really, really well. The second part of that, our district's Health, Safe, and Healthy Schools meets monthly. Held their first meeting in September. I actually cut and pasted JJ's notes. You see the bulk of the agenda was really about COVID protocol. And then a little bit of drills and other things that really kind of our health safety piece this year is really about how to mitigate COVID-19. So any questions about safe and healthy schools? Okay. All right, so it looks like we're going to the consent agenda. There's a couple of items I want to bring to your attention for sure. On the consent agenda, myself. Item number 18, I just wanted to bring to your attention, I feel like we're going to have some in and out with staff, maybe not on every agenda, but I think it's going to be a function of quarantine and COVID, honestly. I just think that people are a little bit unsure how to still navigate this thing called COVID. But specifically, item C, and that was a resignation by a paraprofessional that we just hired. I don't know the reason, honestly, really, I mean, there's a resignation letter, but the truth is, she stayed not very long. In fact, she's hired, I believe, the last board meeting and now has already resigned. That was an attempt to split our Spanish classes at Cal State High School. That's the one subject that we're struggling a little bit with social distancing. I think the masks are making having a great effect. The latest data I understood was 87% mitigation for the spread of COVID. So I think that helps, but we'll be in a hunt for yet another parent to help us separate some classes so we can get kids a little further apart in those. So just to bring it to your attention, I think there's going to be some challenges that we're going to have to work through every single day, month, week that we're in school this year, based on what we're living through. I would also draw to your attention item number 20. If you remember last month, we asked you to approve the advance team trip to Florida, I believe in March. There are 3 more requests for approval. Again, those can closest one to today would be the wrestling tournament that's in December, the 18th and 19th. That will be being in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a little nervous, quite frankly, about them traveling, honestly, out of state. However, I don't know how you can get that for you all, and so that's where I'm at. I do know that in that particular month, we'll be out of school for 2 weeks. So by nature, we're out of school for winter break, so quarantine. Just because of the nature of when the timing is. So again, I know that's a little bit of an ask, but again, depending on where we're at with the comfort level and anything can happen between now and December, we can retract that, or the tournament can get canceled, which is likely. Right now, what we're seeing is professional development with our national conferences also going virtual. So it wouldn't be surprising if some of these trips we're saying will approve for now would be canceled. So that was another item that I wanted to bring to your attention publicly. And then item number 24 is one much like our visual impairment type therapies. We also would ask for your approved contractual agreement with an audiologist based on the need for a student on an IEP that would have hearing impairment. So that would be one that we need to approve tonight. And then lastly, 25 is the review of board meeting dates for fiscal year 21. So that calendar is there. Becky put that together. I would like for you to review that between now and the November meeting, because at that point we'll have to go ahead and file those with the county to get them on our calendar for the full year for 2021. So just remember, we always schedule those a year in advance and get on the calendar so the public can know when those meetings are. So I think that concludes what I would point out to you in the consent agenda, unless you guys have questions about any other items.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more questions? Any questions? Okay, vote.
Dunn.
Aye.
Mullin.
Aye.
Noble.
Aye.
Lyman. Aye. Ledger.
Aye.
Okay. Action items.
Right, so this is the proposed acceptance of bid package 1A. Awarding the contract to the lowest responsible bidder on the Charles Page High School recladding. It's the amount of $190,942.76. Again, competitively public bid by Elite Turns Incorporated. Lower than what we initially projected that cost to be. We feel like it's an important project to complete. Not only the look of the school building from the front, but also just what we talked about before in terms of deterioration of that east wing outer surface.
Make a motion, we approve item 28.
I'll second. But I do have a couple of questions, you or whatever. I don't recognize that company and stuff. Have you guys worked with them before? Was it?
Josh, what do you,
It wasn't one I was familiar with, not that means anything, but.
the metal company, we worked with them before.
And their price is so much lower than everybody else's. Are we sure that we're comfortable with that?
I worked with them one time and it went fine. I know they did the candy building downtown Tulsa. They built their own ATM panels and that's kind of what they do. So they're very experienced, been around for a long time.
So they're not buying it from a Luther Bond or somebody like that, they're actually making it themselves?
Yes, they make them. They buy the material and then they fabricate it themselves.
The Tandy building, Josh, is where?
That's the Oklahoma State building that's,
Southwest Boulevard. That's what I said. I was like, you make it orange. Our architect said no. I thought it was a great idea. I got voted down, so.
Blue?
Not blue either, no. I think I've heard the rest of your opinion.
They're just, their prices are so much lower than everybody else has the price.
Right, I thought the same thing, but I have to tell you, we were pretty picky, and I probably found out more about the exterior of the building than anyone else, just because I want to make certain that it was good quality. I'm confident in No Returns
Did our architect also get involved in the specification for this material?
Yeah.
Okay, came from KDP?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Dan?
Aye.
Vaughn?
Aye.
Knopf?
Aye.
Wagon? Aye. Wojciech?
Aye.
Item number 29.
This would be the bid package for the lowest bidder on the Angus Valley Gymnasium, new construction project in the amount of $2,011,092.80. If you'll remember with our bond package in March, we bonded $1 million, knowing full well that we would have to match that with an additional $1 million plus out of building fund, which we're prepared to do. I'm ready to go. I think they're ready to break ground, and we've been talking about it, and I don't know how many times I've been asked, when does the end of this project start? So we're almost ready to do that, and we'd ask for you to approve this bid package contract tonight.
I'll make a motion that we approve item 29.
And I have a question similar to Mike's, and on the electrical, it's significantly lower than the other two bids.
Josh, you want to discuss?
Yes, AC Electric is they're a smaller company, it's a father and son, company. We've done several projects with them. I've had $400,000 electrical scope with them before, and they were flawless. So I told everybody that I've highlighted on there, and everybody was comfortable with their bid, and AC Electric was also comfortable, and they have the specified life safety package, so I have no worries about it.
His explanation when we were talking through those bids, Ms. Greg and I met with them after the bid package was complete, and he said there's no overhead because it is a small.
Yeah, if you're not paying for the lady at the office or any of that, that company, you'll see the owner sometimes step up his tool belt and get on site and do some work, so. But, this size of scope, they're a great company to have. Say we did the freshman academy, I would say something different, but on this project, I think they're great.
We've seen J.C. Carter do the same thing on your job, so, yeah, that works.
JC or David? Maybe David.
Well, J.C. be up there too.
Maybe,
He'd rather-
that's true. Yeah.
Sure, I'm sorry, you mentioned that we may have to look at having a fire road going to that.
So we're talking through that. In the contingency, I believe there was 91,000 in contingency. Josh, correct me if I'm wrong.
That was correct.
So that's included in the bid, along with some allowances, right?
Right, so you might speak to because we're having a little bit of debate on the how-to. There's a possibility of doing it kind of under the ground. I'm gonna say this all wrong, so I apologize up front. Sturdy surface underground, and you cover it with grass, so that the front of the building looks like a beautiful grass, as opposed to a concrete, maybe circle drive. So we're kind of doing a great debate on which would be prettier. My perspective is, I've heard from some folks out in the community that really like that big grassy field. And basically, you want the ground to support a fire truck in case there would be a fire on site. And if that's the purpose, we really don't need to drive for drop off for buses. So from what I've gleaned from the neighborhood that's just north of Angus, they really like the view of just a grassy, pretty field. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. We're trying to figure out the cost of it right now, so it's a little bit more expensive than just the concrete, I guess, that would create the circle drive. So, but we're gonna have to do one or the other,
So we think we've got that covered in the
We think we do. right?
Yes, and what I presented, the other day, I actually allotted some of that contingency, 25,000 for the fire. So, we can build something that we know will satisfy the fire marshal for around $10,000. It's just, I think we're wanting to do the geogrid type grass system that is hidden, and right now, I'm not 100% sure that cost that I'm working on.
He knows the words to use, geogrid system, it has grass on top of it. Thank you, Josh, appreciate that. Any more questions? All right, motion in a second, vote please.
Dan? Vaughn?
Aye.
Knopf?
Aye.
Blackman. Aye. Whitehead.
Aye. Number 30, proposed executive session to discuss this one.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve item number 30, to go into executive session to talk about employment, but also to do evaluation of superintendent searches.
Second.
Motion and a second. Vote.
Gann.
Aye.
Mullin.
Aye.
Noble.
Aye.
Blackman. Aye. Whitehead.
Aye.
Okay, so we had a good meeting, no votes were taken, so we shall proceed to item number 31, proposed employment.
I'll make a motion we approve the proposed employment of the individuals listed, line 31.
Okay, any discussion? And a motion and second, vote please.
Dunn.
Aye.
Mullins. Novel.
Thank you, Bo.
Novel.
Let's do this.
Novel. Can you hear?
Oh,
Somebody give
wait,
a
wait,
thumbs
wait.
up.
Okay, go for it.
Novel.
Yeah, here.
We're voting.
We're voting on proposed employment. And if you'll indicate maybe with a thumbs up, aye for approval of the employment of the ones listed on item number, help me, sorry.
31.
31. You do a thumbs up?
I never hear there, is that on there?
Is that a here?
That's the rest.
Yeah.
Bo, is your microphone muted?
I'm on.
Okay, so we called for a vote on the employment item, number 31, and you're up. Aye, okay, gotcha.
Wagner. Aye. Waken.
Aye. Okay, since 32 is combined, I think, right, and that's not a vote, so if we're paired, then I guess we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there any announcements?
We have no
Or
announcement.
no?
Well seconded.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, the vote please.
Dunn.
Aye.
Mullins.
Aye.
Novel.
Aye.
Wagner. Aye. Waken.
Aye.
How did Bo do that? Because it's not.